All right, let's talk about happiness. You know, we all have this picture in our heads of what it's supposed to be, right? It's that huge, explosive feeling you get when you land your dream job, or maybe you win the lottery. You finally get that thing you've been chasing. It's a celebration. It's like this big prize you win.
But what if that's all wrong? What if that entire idea we've been sold is a trap? What if that big, flashy, loud feeling of getting something isn't actually happiness at all?
So check this out. Here's an idea that's going to flip everything on its head. This comes from the book The Mental Models of Human Behavior, and it says, happiness is simply the absence of desire. Now, I know, that sounds totally backwards, doesn't it? But stick with me, because understanding this one sentence, well, it's a game changer. Okay, let's get into this happiness trap and why we so often misunderstand the feeling itself. I want you to think about a time you felt genuinely, peacefully content. It probably wasn't some big, loud moment. Maybe you were just sitting there, sipping a really good cup of coffee, watching the rain outside. It wasn't exciting. It was just quiet and good. And that right there, that's the secret. In that moment, you weren't wishing for a better cup of coffee. You weren't thinking about the next thing on your to-do list. You weren't wanting to be anywhere else. The magic ingredient wasn't the coffee. It was the complete absence of wanting anything to be different. You were just there. You were just good. This brings us to a super important distinction that we have to make, because we get this wrong all the time. We tend to throw the words happiness and joy around like they're the same thing, but they are absolutely not. They are two very, very different experiences. So let's break it down. On one hand, you've got joy. Joy is that awesome electric rush you get when you finally get something you want. It's like scratching a really persistent itch. It feels amazing, but it's a high, and it's temporary. Then, on the other hand, you have happiness. And happiness is much quieter. It's that peaceful, steady feeling of contentment. It's not about scratching an itch. It's about not having an itch to scratch in the first place. So, our emotional lives are basically on this constant pendulum swing, all driven by this hidden cycle. Let's call it the desire and suffering gap. Once you see this cycle, you can't unsee it, and you'll understand why that feeling of joy never seems to last. This quote from Cade Boudris just hits the nail on the head. That amazing feeling you get when you achieve a goal, that's what he's talking about. It's just a brief pause. It's a temporary little space right before your brain, which is basically a desire-creating machine, serves up the next thing it wants.
And what's on the flip side of that coin? Well, it's suffering. And we're not necessarily talking about some huge tragedy here. We're talking about that low-grade, everyday feeling of unease. It's that gap between wanting something and having it. You know that feeling when you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic and you really have to use the bathroom? That awful, agitated feeling? That is suffering in its purest form.
But here's the punchline, and it's actually really good news. Just like that fleeting moment of happiness is temporary, the suffering, that feeling of wanting, is also temporary. They're two sides of the same coin, and neither one of them is permanent. And when you really get that, it is such a massive relief.
Now, I can kind of hear what you might be thinking. Okay, this all sounds a little bleak. Are you just telling me I can never be happy and stay that way? And, well, kinda. Look, we are hardwired to be desire machines. It's what we do. Wanting things is a core part of being human.
Just think about the new phone cycle. You finally get it, and for a week, it's the greatest thing ever. You're content. But then what happens? You see an ad for the next model. It's faster, better camera, shinier, and all of a sudden, a brand new desire is born. And that perfect contentment you had with the phone in your pocket, poof, it just kind of evaporates. But here's the twist, and this is so important. Realizing this isn't depressing. It's the opposite. It is incredibly liberating. The moment you stop beating yourself up for not feeling happy all the time, the moment you understand the game that your own brain is playing, that's when you can actually start to change the rules. So let's pivot from the what and the why to the how. This is where we get practical. How can you take this idea and actually use it to find more of that quiet, peaceful contentment in your real, day-to-day life? It's actually way more simple than you'd think. 3 steps.
First, just start noticing those little moments. That first sip of coffee, a song you love coming on the radio, a moment of silence. Second, when a desire pops into your head, and it will, just acknowledge it. Don't fight it, don't judge it, just go, there's that wanting thing again. And third, appreciate. Shift your brain away from "I'll be happy when" and actively focus on what is good right now.
And this, right here, this is maybe the biggest trap of them all. The second you feel that contentment and think, oh, this is great, I need to hold on to this feeling, I need more of this, you've just created a new desire. You started to grip that handful of sand. And what happens when you squeeze sand? It just slips right through your fingers, faster than ever. So let me be absolutely clear. The point of all this is not to become some emotionless Zen master who never wants anything. That's not the goal. It's about finding a healthier relationship with your own desires. It's about being able to chase your goals and enjoy the wins without letting the endless cycle of wanting steal the contentment that's available to you in the present moment. So I'll just leave you with this one last question to chew on. What if you just stop treating happiness like it's some destination you have to struggle to reach? What if instead you started seeing it as a state of being that's already inside you, one that you can access in any quiet moment just by letting go of desire? If you found this video eye-opening, do us a huge favor. Smash that like button, share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to the Merrick's Media channel for more videos that break down big ideas. The link to the book, The Mental Models of Human Behavior, is in the description below. Go check it out. Thanks for